All right, Taurus, welcome to your monthly Sidereal Astrology forecast for June of 2016. I'm your host, Athen, and this is for Sidereal Astrology. If you are new to the channel, be sure to check out the link because the signs are different. All right, Taurus, so a lot going on this month. I'm going to go ahead and go through it one by one. If you do have any questions, feel free to comment down below. I do go into the weeklies for the month, so if you aren't new to the channel, be sure to subscribe for those weeklies where I go into these weeks in detail. All right, so starting off the month, we've got your ruler, Venus, in your sign and your sun in your sign. So happy birthday for all you Taurans who have your birthdays this month, watching for your sun sign. But whether you're watching this for your moon or your ascendant, this is a time of new beginnings for you guys, especially because we're going to have this new moon on the 4th. So it's a good time to kind of sit with the energies around the 4th, set your new intentions in terms of what your goals are, what your ambitions are, who you are, where you want to see yourself in 6 months, 12 months, right? Maybe write them down, these kinds of things. So new beginnings for you guys, and I think there's a lot of this forward-moving momentum. You've had all of your planets come out of your 12th house last month, right? And so there's more of this focus on what you can do and actually take action towards, especially with your ruler Venus in that first house. So with that, I do want to mention that the new moon is going to be forming a grand cross, so it is a good time to be open to challenge ourselves. All right, suggesting that it may not be easy. I mean, this is a collective energy. Of course, your personal chart is the most important thing here, but to be open to challenge and to challenge ourselves. And it's with these grand crosses, with these squares, that we can really get things done. And there can be a lot of success, but it does take that openness to challenge and to take whatever actions are necessary for you to really establish, again, your goals and anything that you want or are focused on right now at the moment. You know, this is the house of self. Very important. Now, the new moon is going to be conjoining up to your ruler Venus. All right, so there's a lot of new beginnings, not only because it's in your sign, but it's conjoining your ruler. So there's going to be new Taurus this month. And I think a lot of you are going to be feeling like there's a new you, being independent, really getting out there, maybe more active, whatever it might be. But you guys have this freshness about you and your self-image, which I think can be very inspiring. Now, on the 7th, we do have Mercury then going into your sign. So I think still this first week, you guys still might be thinking about that rest and relaxation, that alone time, right? Thinking about it, and your mind's still a bit nebulous, I think. But once Mercury goes into your sign, which is going to be on that 7th, from that point onward, you guys will probably start to think a little bit clearer in terms of what you want and where you're headed and that sort of thing, right? So this is the mental faculty here. So it's a good time to think about that stuff, to really apply it and start to work with it in a practical way, especially because that'll be after the new moon and it's given time for that new moon to start gaining momentum in the sky. It starts to gain that energy, and so do we. Now on the 9th, we have the North Node trining up to Pluto. So this one's very intense, very deep, but in a good way. This is your life path, the North Node. And so the North Node has been transiting your 4th house of home, family, and health. So this has been a good area for you to now focus on, a new area, in fact, since the beginning of this year, for you to focus on so you can cultivate these better foundations in your life. Better health, more solidified home life, family life, personal life. So you got a lot of support here around the 9th to make whatever changes might be necessary for that. They might be deep changes that maybe you weren't looking at before, but now you can see. In fact, it's a very insightful month, which I'll talk more about, but this could be some insights leading you into that momentum that I think is so important for you guys to be cultivating your roots in life. Now on the 12th, we got that Mars retrograde. So Mars is coming into this month still retrograde. And so with you guys are probably reflecting on those relationships. This is a Mars that's actually in your 6th house. So you're probably reflecting on your routine or your health, your diet, remodifying that stuff, maybe even your work life. And so with this one though, you could be feeling quite healed and rejuvenated for one reason or another. Maybe things are starting to unfold good in the workspace. Maybe things are starting to go good with your health, your diet, your routine. So it's a nice energy. It's quite healing and quite rejuvenating, maybe even with those relationships as well. Now on the 14th, we got Neptune going retrograde. Now this is a Neptune who's been in your 10th house. So you guys have been over many years seeing the dreams that you might have with your work or with your career or your legacy or public stuff that you have going on. So it's a good time for about the next 6 months now, this shift, this mid-month onward, to be rethinking about these dreams or these hopes about the career stuff, right? How, I would say, perhaps where you can connect to it on a more spiritual level, right? Reflect on how your work can be more meaningful to you, how it can provide that soul food, which is what Neptune, I think, is really showing you generally in that 10th house, in terms of how we can give, how we can contribute, how we can really connect to what we do in a way that we feel like is giving and connected to our soul essence, right? Because when we give through our work, it's very satisfying. And I think that's been a big theme for a lot of you. Now, on the 17th and 18th, we got Saturn squaring up to that Neptune, all right? So this has been an ongoing theme. This has been going on since November of last year. And this is sometimes that confusion and uncertainty about what we're building in our life. And for you guys, I think this is specifically with what you're building in terms of relationships. You've had Saturn in your 7th house. You get a lot of this reflective energy about relationships right now. It's great to be learning about this, but just know around the 17th and 18th, just kind of take it easy. Just kind of let go, have a bit more faith and trust, and just know that everything is unfolding in divine timing when it does come to what you're working on or what you're building with in terms of relationships. Now, also at that time, 17th and 18th, we got your ruler transiting into Gemini, followed by the sun on the 20th. So there is this shift, and this is the shifting point about the middle to later part of the month, in terms of, I think, you guys starting to be more focused on maybe your finances, maybe your sense of self-worth and your self-reliance. So I think going into next month, it's an excellent place for you guys to be focused, to put energy into and cultivate and really be grateful for what you have in life, because that's Venus in the 2nd house, where we can actually see the abundance that we have, enjoy it, kick back maybe even, this is your house with your ruler here, enjoy the simple pleasures of life, have that relaxing approach, and I think you can find that not only very enjoyable, but you could be attracting nice things going into next month for some of you. Now on the 20th, with that sun going in there, I think you guys can gain that energy, gain that prana when you are focused on the self-reliance or the financial stuff, which is good too. And this is going to be the area of new beginnings for you next month. Now also this time, the 20th, we got Jupiter conjoining up to the North Node, which is a very expanding transit. This has been going on since January of this year, so the beginning of the year. There's been this insight about what's possible. And I think you guys are specifically going to be seeing what's possible with, and maybe even the opportunities with, that home stuff or the family stuff, okay, or your health in some sense. You could be gaining insight. There could be an opportunity depending on your personal chart. These kinds of things, which is really moving forward and expanding your roots in your life, especially around the 20th. Now, also on the 20th, we got a full moon, and it's going to be right on the cusp between your 7th and your 8th house. So now we do have a culmination of relationships taking place. Okay, so if this has been an area for you in some sense, or legal matters for the past 6 months, this could be coming to the high point, coming to the forefront at this time. Also in terms of what really matters to you in life. That's the 8th house, where you can have this sense of intimacy and connection with self and really see what really matters and be appreciative of it and really connect to those deeper values in your life. And it could be even with those relationships, deep intimacy with others. Now on the 26th, you guys will probably find that there's a lot of this transformation starting to occur with these possibilities around your home life, your family life, or your health, with Pluto trining up to Jupiter in that 4th house. So it's a very powerful month, and I think on the 26th there could be some good changes, a lot of possibilities really unfolding for some of you to really maybe take some action, maybe even clear out some old things that are no longer serving you regarding those foundations in your life. Now on the 27th, we got Chiron going retrograde, so there is some reflection in terms of where we're healing. And for you guys, this is, I think, healing a bit in terms of your connection to your groups or your community, right? Chiron's been in your 11th house, so you guys have already been healing with this since the beginning of the year, but now it's the time to reflect on that a little bit. Maybe even heal some wounds relating with your hopes and wishes, and again, maybe anything relating to groups or communities in some sense. Now on the 29th, we got Mars going station direct, and so there is this now forward moving momentum, and I think this is specifically with all of our motivation energy, and I think there's intention, and again, this is for your relationships. So I think with all this reflection you guys are doing on relationships, there's a lot of insight coming in this month about them, and I think by the end, around the 29th, going into next month, there's a lot of this momentum, this new insight, maybe putting things into motion where you can really be independent, assert yourself in relationships, and maybe even cultivate that area in terms of existing ones or new ones. All right, Taurus, I hope you guys have a fantastic month. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.